Welcome back. And as we all know, as we said in the intro, that President Abdel Fattah Sisi have given his directives to strengthen efforts in light of the global interest in green hydrogen projects as a promising source for energy and renewable energy in the very near future, according to his vision of 2030. And during a meeting that he was following up on this, he directed to continue strengthening the existing efforts to attract foreign investments to the Suez Canal Economic Zone in the field of clean energy production, and particularly the green hydrogen and its various industrial applications, in order to maximize the benefit from the strategic and vital location of the canal. And to shed more light on this issue, we're very delighted to be joined here by Professor Dr. Karam, the Technical Director of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy. Good morning, Dr. Karam. And of course, as we all know, that the President is giving special care and special focus to this type of projects, in general, the green hydrogen and the renewable energy and all the types of projects. How do you evaluate the efforts exerted by Egypt to start using the green hydrogen for the near future?
Well, this is the right direction to move on. In fact, worldwide, now there is, I would say, a momentum toward green hydrogen. And why this momentum? Because hydrogen is offering a possibility to somehow shift away from conventional fuels and their bad impact on the environment. And also, now we all feel the energy security aspects, so that the availability of oil and gas or the commodities that are affected by the unavailability of oil and gas. Green hydrogen itself, hydrogen is a commodity itself. It has been used for long for different industries. But what is new here? The new thing is that we can use hydrogen now to become itself a green product, and then use this product in other applications. So it is no longer only electricity. With renewable energy, we have in several meetings that we have, in several discussions, we are discussing renewable energy for electricity production. So we have Benban project that we talked about before. We have Gulf of Zit projects. But what about this electricity? Can we use this electricity to serve what we call hard to abate, hard to reduce the carbon footprint for industries and application? Yes, we can. How? First of all, greening the product itself. How to green the product? Typically, hydrogen is produced from natural gas or coal or oil. And this is called gray hydrogen because it has a lot of emissions. So another possibility of producing hydrogen is to use the electricity from renewable resources such as wind and solar energy, and then take this into a device called electrolyzer that splits water into hydrogen and oxygen. Oxygen is very useful, you know, for different applications, but hydrogen also is very useful in several industrial applications. Like what? Like steel industry, like fertilizers, like ammonia production. Several products existing in the market are relying now on hydrogen. So if we have green hydrogen, we are greening these industries. And by using also hydrogen, we are capable of going into new sectors. For example, now there is what is called fuel cells. What are fuel cells? These are some sort, very similar to the battery of the car, but you inject this with hydrogen and you produce electricity. So simply by charging hydrogen in fuel stations, you can inject this hydrogen in a device, small device that produces electricity, and this electricity can be used for cars, we call it fuel cell electric vehicles, EVs, or trucks, or forklifts within stores and so on. And you can imagine, for example, Amazon. Most of the stores in the United States are using hydrogen as a fuel for the internal forks and lifts within Amazon itself. So, and for example, Microsoft, just last year, they have used hydrogen to produce electricity through fuel cells. And this electricity has powered for 2 continuous days the entire servers of Microsoft. So the concept is that you have a fuel that can be transported through liquefaction or through being a gas, and then you can transmit it through pipelines similar to the gas pipeline, natural gas pipeline that we have. And even you can blend this up to 10% with the existing gas infrastructure. So you are having green attributes. You are using this in applications that were difficult to use in before. And another important side of the equation, we all know that electricity from renewable resources is somehow variable. We may have wind or we may have not. This is based on the weather condition. But we need a stable electricity production. And we need also for several, I would say, industry this to accommodate this for this variability. And maybe at a certain point we have surplus renewable electricity that we do not need internally. So somehow producing hydrogen in electrolyzers that are powered by green electricity would give us the possibility to store the electricity produced in another form and using this either for industrial application or for using it to produce electricity in times at night or whenever we don't have the resource.
Right. We need to learn about the green hydrogen in its own right and its role in helping combat the different hazards and different threats of climate change and global warming.
Well, you know that we are approaching the COP in November. And being aware that we should not continue our business as usual in the energy sector and in general. Make us aware that we need to go now beyond just typical solutions. What are the typical solutions that we were looking at? For now, for more than 20 years, we have been looking into renewable energies. And now we are facing, I would say, a turning point in the history of renewable energy. It seems that the concepts of storage are not yet viable. And without clear storage, are not yet economically viable to the extent that it can be widespread worldwide. But solar and wind technologies are already competitive with respect to price. So the electricity produced from solar and wind are the cheapest now worldwide, compared even to coal. So how to capture the benefits of this low price while de-risk the issue related to the variability that we do not have it all times, although it is cheap, but it is not available all times. And this is why we are trying to find a solution that an energy carrier, we call it hydrogen, by the way, it is not an energy source. It is an energy carrier that can carry this electricity, this energy, in another form, so that we can use it in transportation sector, in electricity production sector, and many other applications as I elaborated in the previous question. So simply by doing that, what we do? First of all, imagine that 1/3 of the emissions worldwide are coming from the transport sector. The transport sector with all the emissions, and this affects not only the global warming issue with increasing temperature, which is a disaster. We know that worldwide some areas would be covered with water and so on. But additionally, we know that how bad is this for the overall health of the population. The cost that we are bearing on the to achieve better living conditions and to establish new roads, for example, because of this, to make sure that we have a flow, we do not have a concentration of carbon dioxide and other shocks and etc. that are affecting the health of the people. And the socio-economic dimension of this and the lower productivity. So there are a lot of what we call externalities associated with just using conventional fuel. It is not only the price of fuel, which is also really crucial now because of the escalating prices worldwide, but it is economic, socio-economic, and environmental dimensions that we are looking at. So bringing all this together, hydrogen seems to be among the most viable solutions in the medium to long terms. So you can find, for example, the European Commission saying that we would like to have within the next up to 2050, this is the target, that they would like to see 80,000 megawatt of electrolyzers that produce green hydrogen capacities in Europe and in nearby regions. So 40 and 40. 40 in Europe and 40 in nearby region. What do they mean by nearby region? They simply said clearly, this was last year before the eruption of the political crisis between Ukraine and the war between Russia and Ukraine. They said Ukraine and the Middle East. MENA, Middle East and North Africa. So now we know the situation in Ukraine. So now all the eyes are directed toward the Middle East and North African region to find alternative solution for the fuel in general, and also to untap the potential of having this fuel as green as much as we can. So you'll find projects now in Egypt, several projects, several MOUs, and very strategic and wise decision that we are using the Suez of Canal economic zone to be some sort of the valley for hydrogen or the cluster for hydrogen. Why we are shedding this? Very wise decision, in fact. You are near the harbor, the port, Sokhna ports, and and Suez Canal. So you are giving yourself a possibility to produce hydrogen, to produce, for example, products that are among the most important products in the industry, ammonia, for example. And now you can term this as green ammonia. With this environmental attribute, you can sell it better in the international market with a better price. So green ammonia. And you'll find Egypt signed already agreements for 100 megawatt electrolyzers to produce green ammonia. And the ammonia would be here and then exported to Europe. You will find similar agreements in Morocco, for example. And in Morocco, a different situation compared to Egypt. For example, we say Morocco because Morocco import ammonia with around $2 billion US annually. So producing this locally would help them to reduce the import cost on them, the burden of the import. But for Egypt, the number of MOUs signed till now would culminate into around $10 billion US. So you are attracting foreign direct investment into the Egyptian economy. And you are greening your economy. And you are creating a new hub here for Egypt. We are all discussing being the corridor, the hub for electricity interconnection, the hub for gas through liquefaction facilities in EDCO and so on. But a new hub for producing what we call alternative fuels. Alternative fuels are fuels produced by hydrogen to power either ships or aviation, airplanes.
Only those two vehicles?
No, and cars also through fuel cells.
No, but the alternative types of fuel are new types
There are plenty of alternative fuels.
Not like the regular types of renewable energy?
Okay, when we have renewable energy, we can produce several things. We can produce electricity, and we know that through solar panels, for example, or wind turbines. This is production of electricity. But we can use it also to produce fuels that can be used in engines as thermal energy. Then you use it like in a car. So, for example, there is what is called ethanol. Ethanol is a product produced from, for example, agro-food industry, oils, several types of oils that either edible or non-edible. So this ethanol can be mixed with, it's simply a different type of alcohol, but it is used as oil, as gasoline. So when you mix this ethanol with gasoline, you have what is called e-fuel. And this e-fuel, for example, a country like Emirates has a mandate, to have E10 or E15. 10% of the gasoline that you charge your car with would be from this ethanol. This is another product. You can produce this also by hydrogen. Another type of fuel is called biodiesel. What is biodiesel? It is also a diesel that can be made from different type of products, including, for example, oil wastes that we use oil in our homes, in different industries also. We can use this oil to transform it into diesel. And diesel can be used for heavy trucks, for cars, for buses, and so on. So this is called biodiesel, and this is a replacement. By the way, also ethanol can be produced from sugar cane, for example, or and other types of sugar products. So simply, you can produce oil, alternative fuels from different resources. For the oil, I'm sorry, for the shipping industry, they are looking for special types of fuels, and for the aviation industry. And they call, for example, for the aviation, they call it SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel, SAF. And there are targets for most of the operators of the flight services worldwide that to have clean aviation, to lower the carbon footprint. And this is similar also to the shipping industry. So by having hydrogen and then producing alternative fuel, for example, in the economic zone of Suez Canal, you can be a hub for shipping, fueling these ships moving through Suez Canal with alternative fuel. And there will be another additional income through this, together with passing through the Suez Canal. This is one of the nice ideas. Also, you have it can be easily shipped, transported, and so on. So I would say that moving into the hydrogen economy is a step that we are showcasing that it is not only that we are using our natural resources for our own energy security, but we are thinking on the future of the entire planet, that we are now contributing, although we are not among the big emission producers worldwide. You know, Egypt's share in the overall emissions, CO2 emissions worldwide, is only 0.6%. We are hosting COP, but we are only emitting 0.6% of the worldwide emission. 75% are produced, for example, by the G20. 75% of the emissions worldwide. So they have an obligation. So what are we calling for now? We are saying that we are transforming our economy to be green. We are going, we have already announced our commitment to have 42% of our electricity coming from renewable resources. But we are not only relying on this for electricity, but we are also going beyond the electricity. We are using the concept now, power to X. X means the other application. It is not only electricity. So Egypt is moving, even the entire MENA region, including Morocco, Emirates, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, all Arab countries and many countries are adopting strong and ambitious policies. But what is needed now, first of all, that those who have polluted the environment need to fulfill their commitments. What are their commitments? For several years, they have many of the developed countries that have already benefited from the industrial revolutions and having, in fact, polluted the entire world and caused the global warming effect that you have referred to. They have committed to inject $100 billion annually to the international economy. So that, for example, when Africa and Latin America and Asia are developing, they are not using the same polluting industries, but they are going for more environmental friendly industries and economies. But we cannot do this if this is expensive to us. So what is needed now, and this is Egypt has announced it clearly, what is needed is to channel investments into green technology. We need financial flows to help us to move into this direction. Otherwise, we will go for the best economic solutions, and this is normal. So we are saying, no, we are committed to green our economy for the benefit of our people first, and then for the international world. But please support not only Egypt, support Africa, because we are speaking on behalf of Africa. Support Africa to improve its energy access, to increase the living, to enhance the living condition for their citizens through financial flows. And this is not necessarily to be, for example, grants. It can be soft loans. It can be mixed bundle of incentives together. It can be opening the markets for our products, greening our products, and then you give us the opportunity to export this. And we have been now discussing a lot with several initiatives worldwide. There are several initiatives discussing, instead of importing fuels, instead of exporting fuels or electricity, you export green molecules.
Green molecules?
Yes. This means that I can simply use the energy that is from renewable resources to produce any commodity. Any commodity. And then this commodity can be labeled as green because we use green energy in that, whether electricity or thermal. And then through this labeling as green, we would like to see in the future markets that can take these products, give them a preference in the market, lower the taxes, give them more incentives, so that we can market these products and get economical benefits out of this. So it is not only grants you can support with technology transfer. You can support by public-private partnerships. You can support by availing finance for our investors. Several modalities can be there for improving and greening the economy. So this is in brief the answer to your question.
Right. At this note, Professor Dr. Maged Karamuddin, you are Technical Director of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy. Would like to thank you so much for coming this morning, and you have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
And we're going to go to a short break, and we'll come to continue the breakfast show, so stay with us.